Dude, I don't have the hat on.
Rolling.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with the boys, Cal and Petey. Say, what's up, guys?
What up?
Ready to rock.
We got news. One of the top movies, animated series from the 1980s and 90s is back. Highlander itself is going to be rebooted by our boy, Henry Cavill, Superman himself. Can't believe they're bringing this back. They've been talking about, huh?
Is he producing or just being in it?
It's a reboot. So it's coming back on, baby. We're talking about,
But is he producing or he's starring?
Is he producing? He'll be starring.
Okay, that's fine. Just want to be clear.
I mean, at his level, he's having another series. He already has the whole thing with The Witcher. He already has a Superman series under his belt. There may be something extra with the Mission Impossible franchise. He is rolling. He is the man. So right now, the whole Highlander franchise basically is this whole thing where a Highlander, these group of people, these group of immortals have this power where they fight each other over the decades to come to just one person will get all the power all the power that they all wield and become the man himself. Basically, once one is beheaded, basically that power goes to the one who killed him, who beheaded him, because you can't just stab him. You gotta cut that head off completely. Just like Army of the Dead style.
You should have just done the intro. That would have worked better. He is Duncan MacLeod of Clan MacLeod.
He is Duncan MacLeod of Clan MacLeod.
If you take his head and then you take his power, there can only be one.
That's right. That's a good one. I put that one in, Pete, when you get in there. Yo, you with us, man?
Yeah, I just gotta. Will you stop worrying about me? Keep going. You want me to say something about this?
Nah, you pass it right here. I got it.
I don't say this. With this, obviously the first one is memorable. Everyone likes it. The second one people kind of iffy on. But if you can look at it now and be able to try to look at the scope, you can probably expand it to something bigger now. So I'm hoping for the best on this one. And I hand it back to huh?
Really? I love this. I actually enjoyed this franchise, and I don't have a lot of hope for this because there was only one good movie, and they made a few movies. There was only one good movie and a TV series that they worked really hard to make certain that you couldn't watch. Okay, I remember I watched the first movie, and I was still trying to piece it together because of the time stuff that was a little loopy at first, but it was enjoyable. At the end of the day, you had Clancy Brown in there, did a great turn as Kurgan. Richard Lambert, excellent actor right over there. Loved him as Lord Raiden in Mortal Kombat and in Greystoke. So I was already there with most of the stuff. I was like, yeah, this is it's pretty enjoyable at the end of the day. Then we got the sequels, and the sequels were kind of made because the first one made money, but they didn't really have a story afterwards. So that was pretty much that at the end of the day. But a friend of mine was like, hey man, did you see Highlander? I was like, yeah, I saw it a while ago. I was like, no, it's on TV. It's on TV. So we're like, when is it on? And it would always be on these weird hours when we still had a channel 9 or something. It would be on these weird hours. No, you got to catch it at 10. Then they would move it to 1 in the morning. Then it was 3 in the morning, and then they move it to Saturdays. But if you caught the first season, second season, what have you, it was great. It was great. Good stories. They really made the most of the whole that he's immortal. He's lived through these time periods. They got a great actor in Adrian Paul who could actually sell the sword fighting, the martial arts training. Did a really good job with that. And I think they finally had him. Adrian Paul was a different immortal, Duncan MacLeod, and he meets Connor MacLeod, who was Christopher Lambert's character. And then they finally get into the movies, and Duncan MacLeod becomes the Highlander at that point, the actual Highlander at this point. And I thought that was okay. That movie was okay. Still had some bad stuff in it, but that was okay. But then even going forward, they still couldn't make a competent movie. It was just it just couldn't happen. There was a cartoon series. I think it only lasted 1 season. That was whack because you couldn't do a cartoon with this guy chopping off anybody's head. That's not the kids. No mom is any mother would have been like, oh, John, what are you watching? Oh my God, he chopped that man's head off. What are you watching? So that would have been the end of that that would have been the end of that. So as a franchise, enjoyable, there were some really good points to it, but overall, they really didn't know what to do with it. So now they want to start it over again. I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know, because the first movie in that first the first season or two of Highlander were excellent. And then it was like, just like with the films, it started getting looser and looser, less cohesion. And then you might get a bright spot here and there. It was just, it's a great concept, but they were never able to manipulate it to the best of its ability. So now, if they want to start it, I'm definitely there. I want to see it. I enjoyed following the franchise more than what they produced at the end of the day. So, but as much as I'm an exponent of it, I don't have a lot of hope that these guys can execute until they do it. Meaning, I'm going to have to just wait and see at the end of the day.
Well, there I gotta say, this is where I hold up. I do have a lot of. I think if you have Hollywood movie, the Hollywood money, the production value, and leading actors such as Henry Cavill, you've had many other people attached to this particular project. From Dave Bautista himself to there was even talk of Tom Cruise doing it. Ryan Reynolds. There was a whole bunch of talk about people doing this series at one point or another. I am glad, definitely Ryan Reynolds. I'm glad they didn't do him, but Henry Cavill. I mean, he has that Adrian Paul look, and I think he could definitely pull it off. I think a series of well-written movies could do a good job. The series, you're right. The series started off strong, and of course, the length of these series sometimes it gets a little crazy to make things. But I thought it introduced a lot of different concepts, which I thought were pretty good, even in the end, towards the end when they had like these watchers who were watching them. But it was a series. You're right. It was when the series came out, it was the age of syndication, right? You have Star Trek DS9. Not the DS9. The Star Trek series. You have Stargate. It was the age of
Hercules. Go to Hercules.
Hercules.
That's where it's kind of drawn from. Like, hey, Hercules, where we? I'm not sure which came first. I think Hercules was first. So Hercules, Xena, that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Sword and sorcery. All right, that was it.
Back to
your thing.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Petey. So yeah, I mean, it's. I think it definitely will work. Especially the key thing I've always thought was the weakest part of it was the writing. And if they had someone who can come in there and put some good writing behind the stories, it'll be a great thing. The concept is there will only be one, and that's the key concept. And that's where sometimes the movies faltered because you kept on having these remakes of this is happening and these crazy things are happening. If you kept in the world of the book, I think it would have been much more cohesive. Makes more not books, the TV show would have been more cohesive, make it a lot more sense. Whereas the movies just seem to, like you said, Cal said, they seem to just go a little bit off on their own. They did a movie with Connor and Duncan MacLeod because the fans wanted it. So not necessarily because there was a story behind it. And of course, Duncan definitely, who was holding up the whole franchise on his back, they needed to do something like that. So I'm all for it. I really want to see it continue. I hope they do a good job of it. With Henry Cavill back behind it, I think that there's going to be proper production values. I think there's going to be writing there. I mean, just one of the things he wants to do. He wants to make sure. I think he's not listed as the executive producer, but I think that he's definitely going to be a producer in some form or manner because that's one of the things that he wants to do in his career going forward. He wants to make more of those type of choices, from The Witcher to this going forward, where he's not only acting it, but he's also has some level of control of the show. And hey, he's Superman. He's our Superman now. Can't go wrong with that. That's what I say.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he accepted the Black Superman.
Until the Black Superman shows up.
No, what do you mean?
He does a good job.
He's done. Okay, the moment they started talking about Black Superman, that was it. Henry Cavill. Why do you think he's Highlander now? He's like, what? Ta-Nehisi Coates, he's not gonna be writing for me. Hey, where's that script? Highlander? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we can do that now. We can do that. He's like, okay, he's probably got a blackboard in his living room where he's probably right now. He's like, okay, Highlander, probably gonna be James Bond, got The Witcher, this, that, and the other. He's like, who's that called? Zack Snyder? No, lose his number. Tell him to never call me again.
All right, so hey, we're excited for the series to go. So I think especially if this thing works out, I think we're going to be having a hell of a time because this is a series that can definitely do a lot of stuff in terms of the movies, and hopefully spawns another TV series. And this, like I said, this spawned animated series. It spawned a TV show from one of the characters called The Raven. It spawned a web series back in 2001. I don't know if anybody even watched it, but it also spawned books and comic books too. So it's
yeah, they all suck.
Well, suck or not, there was clearly an audience for it that came out. I'm trying to say.
That's why I'm so I mean, I'm amped to see it, but at this, it's I don't even know if there's a word to describe the feeling that I have. I am amped to see it because I enjoy following this franchise and everything that you mentioned. Okay, I either watched or read. I saw the movies, I read the comics, I saw the television series, I saw the cartoon, and I am telling you right now, in totality of everything they produced, this franchise produced so much. And out of everything they produced one good movie and two good seasons of TV. That was it. That was it.
So
So
you
now I'm hoping that
reboot
these
it
guys have a
and
better
utilize that good stuff and throw out the bad stuff. That could be at least.
I don't know. There's a lot of bad stuff, and these guys may not be able to recognize it until it's too late. They're like, "Oh, that was the bad stuff. Oh, we need another chance." Nah, forget you. Come back in 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's funny. The guy who was behind this sold the script as a his name is Wyden. He's Gregory Wyden. He sold the script as an undergrad. You know, when he was, when he was at UCLA, and the script was bought. And it became this band franchise and stuff. He was involved in a firefighter series called Backdraft, and they said that he was trying to write a movie for Yasuke, which is also very interesting. So I saw, interesting that you had someone who did a lot of those different things there in different variety of shows.
I almost forgot to mention, Highlander also produced one of the greatest soundtracks of all time. The Queen did the soundtrack for the film.
Oh,
Awesome soundtrack.
awesome soundtrack, yes.
Okay. Unfortunately, none of the other soundtracks were any good. Just like pretty much everything else that came with Highlander. Oh
Yeah,
goodness. No, I mean I watched everything that came after. I saw the second movie. I watched the director's cut.
Wow.
Okay, third movie.
any better.
Harry Van Peebles in the movie, stinking it up as the villain. I still watched it. There was another movie that came after, cartoon. I mean, I did. I mean, this was something where I always watched, saying, "Okay, maybe this one will be better," and it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And it wasn't. So
So
I read the comic book, and you're like, "What the hell is this?"
I wonder if the comic book's still
why are you
around.
even bothering?
I wonder if the comic book is still around.
Oh, you can find those. If you go to somebody's house and break open the wall, they're probably in there as insulation.
Oh, you're horrible. Yo, let me close it out, guys. Anything else?
I think that's it. We have one vote. We got 2 votes for, 1 vote against. But he's watched everything, so we have to take in his word.
I've watched everything too. I watched everything, and
You're not saying anything. Then say how much you read. You just haven't read the comic books.
I never read the comic books. I read one of the books, and I read. I mean, I like the shows. My main thing was the animated was a TV show which I saw first. And no, that's not true. I saw the Highlander first, the very first one. I didn't see the other movies until after I watched the regular series, and I went back to them, and I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on here? You know what I'm trying to say? Progressively.
Let me ask you about the book
animated.
though. What was the book or the books? How many books were there? Have you read?
I didn't read all of them. I think it was one. I don't think it was.
One, did you like it or was it?
It was okay. It wasn't bad. I was just trying to find out more about the whole Highlander universe. When I found out there were so many shows and TV shows happening, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Let me see what's going on. And I just picked up one and said, let me try it out. Mm. And it was okay. It wasn't like great at the time. It wasn't the best book I've read or anything like that. But what it did have, it had Duncan MacLeod on it, and I was like, yeah, that's my boy.
The beauty of this thing is that these guys are immortal, so you can pretty much set them in any time period. So you shouldn't have any problem, creating stories. You could always set them. I can put him in Revolutionary France, or he could be in the Foreign Legion. He could be in World War II. He could be working the stock market right before the stock market crash. And then, of course, you have the element where there has to be a fight. There has to be a fight. So it's never contrived. There has to be a fight. These guys have to fight each other. There can only be one, and then the winner takes the prize, whatever that may be, because they always change what the prize is at the end of the day. So it's an excellent concept. And I don't know. I say, great ideas, and people just don't know what to do with them.
Should have made a video game. That would have probably helped.
I think they did.
They did? Oh, I didn't know they did. All right, guys. So, Spinner Rack?
Out.